Hey guys, today this video is about a dedicated nurse from an Indiana rehab center who is blowing the whistle after witnessing what he believes to be neglectful and even deadly actions by the facility's longtime medical director. He soon realized that raising these concerns came at a cost. He was let go. Now, investigators are looking into the claims as questions swirl over whether patient care was compromised under Dr. Diane Wells' watch. The following is his TikTok playlist, and just a fair warning to you, some choice words are used throughout these videos. It's a lengthy one, but it reels you in, honey, and people like this need to be stopped. At the end of this video, leave a comment down below and tell me what you think. Have you ever worked with someone like this? Please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.
My name is Kobe Simpson. I'm a nurse, a registered polysomnography technologist, a certified registered central service tech, and I hold my CIC in infection control and prevention. I'm coming on here today because I need advice from nurses, respiratory therapists, doctors. I don't give a shit who. As long as you're in the medical field, I want your fucking advice. I'm dealing with a doctor who has the nickname Dr. Death, by the way, here in Indiana, responsible for 2 patients' deaths that were under my fucking watch. Mine. Now, these patients were fine. Now, I'm only going to talk about one mainly today because it just happened, which I was very close to this patient and their family, and it came out of nowhere, right? I mean, we expected it was going to happen at some point, but not that day. Not that day. Now, when I called the doctor, the patient's oxygen saturation had dropped down to 50. All the way from 88 to 50, right? That's a huge fucking difference. I went in and did what I do, and I adjusted a few things, gave a breathing treatment, sat the patient up. Apologize, I'm not gonna let anything else about the patient out, HIPAA-wise. I don't even think that's violating HIPAA that I just said that. But anyway, the moment the doctor walks in, she removes the nasal cannula that was giving oxygen to this patient. She also tells me to remove the Daisy machine, which is what, has the blood pressure cuff, the pulse oximeter meter on it, and a heart monitor on it as well. She told me to remove it from the patient and move it out of the way because it was too loud and it was taking up too much space. He was not dead, okay? Now, she waited at least 2 minutes, at least 2 fucking minutes before she placed her stethoscope on the chest of the patient to check for a heartbeat. At that point, then she declares the death, which is bullshit because, again, that patient was breathing before that nasal cannula was removed. And at the beginning of my shift, which was not much before that, that patient had even said words to me, had even opened their eyes and looked at me. And obviously, the patient was not in good shape. That didn't last long. The consciousness of the patient, but still. She removed the nasal cannula and all monitoring equipment from the patient and waited minutes, which in my eyes, she waited for the patient to die. And when I went in to second the time of death, which I was right there as she did it, as I grabbed my stethoscope and moved towards the patient, I put my hand out with the head of my stethoscope between my fingers, going in to check for a heart rate. She grabs my arm and says, "No, stay there." The fuck? I whispered to her, "Don't start with me." And because her and I have had fucking issues in the past because she doesn't like to listen. And again, I said this has happened with another patient before. That's why we have some fucking issues. Now, I just need some fucking advice on what you guys think about that. And I'm going to be posting more videos on that as well because there's a lot more information about it. And I just need to make sure that I'm not breaking HIPAA or anything like that. Even though the patient is passed, I still want to respect their dignity and all that, all that stuff. That patient was a very close friend of mine, and it caused a lot of fucking issues for me. I didn't even go into work the next day. Please let me know your thoughts comments, whatever. If you don't want a message on the video, then DM me. I appreciate it. My name is Kobe Simpson. I'm a nurse, a registered polysomnography technologist, a certified registered central service tech, and I hold my CIC in infection control prevention. I'm coming on today to update you guys about Dr. Death, and if you don't know what I'm talking about or about the video I made, go to my profile and click on Dr. Death series. It'll show this video and the first one. It'll say part 1. I encourage you to watch the first one in its entirety along with this video in its entirety, because any money made from both of them will go to the family of the patient who had passed. Now, to catch up on some of you who have not seen the first one, a patient was killed by a doctor that I work with by removing life-saving medical monitoring equipment along with a nasal cannula that was keeping him alive. This patient was talking and had even, opened his eyes and had conversations at the beginning of my shift. By 2 or 3 hours later, the patient had passed because the doctor came in, removed all monitoring equipment and the nasal cannula, waited minutes, which actually I found out today, it was 4 minutes in its entirety before she checked for a heartbeat. At that moment, she declared the patient dead, and when I went in to check and second the time of death, which in my state of Indiana is it's the law, so you have to have someone second it. She grabs my wrist and says, "No, stay there," refusing to allow me to do my job, refusing to allow me to do my scope of practice as a nurse. And it's just, I'm really shitty about this. Now, I'm coming on here today because the family doesn't have the money to fight the legal fight that they're wanting to do. So I'm capable of filing a lawsuit and covering it myself and, just whatever. But the doctor has been reported to the IDOI, which is the Indiana Department of Insurance, along with the state's attorney general. They have advised me and the family to file a lawsuit while the doctor is also being investigated, as it'll come from her insurance, the money that has to be paid out and all that. But our end goal here is to get the doctor's license removed and them out of practice because they have killed more than one patient. 2 under my watch, which the first one I didn't notice it at the time, but the second one, obviously, which is the one I'm talking about in the Dr. Death series, which you can find on my page again, I noticed it right away and I spoke up about it. But there wasn't a lot I could do given the family was there. It was going to cause a huge scene, and I regret it. I should have just pushed the doctor out of the way, done what I should have done, and kept the patient alive. The patient was a close friend of mine. I built a good relationship with the family and the patient. They trusted me more than anything and more than anyone in that building. In fact, they had my personal phone number and would ask me questions, text me, talk to me daily. The wife of the patient still messages me, talks to me, and it's just it's hard. If I could, I would help them in ways that most people could only dream of, but I can't. So I'm hoping that you guys can help us and watch these clips all the way through, engage all the way through, hit the likes after you've watched the video, comment, share, save the video, whatever you got to do to help bring up the RPM so that we can bring in as much money as possible for this family. They do not have money to file a lawsuit and to pay for an attorney and to bring this doctor to justice. But if they can get the money along with file the lawsuit along with mine, we have a shot at taking this doctor down. This doctor is very old, needs to retire, and has not killed just 2 patients of mine, which I found out has killed 2 additional patients that were not under my watch. One had a broken arm and refused to come in and check the patient until 4 days later. That patient ended up dying. Now, the other patient fell, hit his head, had a gash, completely bled out basically. She came in, it was like 3 or 4 hours later to stitch him up. That patient ended up having an internal bleed and had to be rushed to the hospital. Well, we just found out today, last night on my night shift, that patient died after being released from our facility just a few days after being released. Now, he had some dizzy fell, which I guarantee you was linked to the head injury that was caused by him falling in our facility and her not sending him out to get a CT scan, but rather than that, stitching him up, which you could fit 4 fingers into the back of his head all the way down. That's how big the gash was and how deep it was. This doctor needs to be brought to justice, and I'm doing everything that I possibly can. Again, please go to my page and click on the Doctor Death series. You'll see this video and the original one, which is labeled Part 1. This one will be Part 2. Now, there's more that I'm going to release as time goes by and as the information comes in back to me from IDOI and the state's attorney general. They have told me that I am allowed to talk about this as long as I'm not releasing the patient's name or family members' names and stuff like that, or identifying information as to where I work, what town I work in, all that stuff. Dr. Death is a nickname the doctor has been given by family members and town members who have known this doctor the entire time that this doctor has been in practice, which they are now 85 and have been in practice for over 50 years. So I will say I looked at all the medications of the patients that have this doctor. None of them make sense. In fact, the doctor has recently discontinued life-saving medications on 2 patients that are in good health. All discontinued. And I printed out all this information and I'm sending it to the state's attorney general today and the IDOI as well, because the only reason you would remove this stuff or discontinue these medications is if the patient was dying. Well, these patients are dying and they're not on hospice. So to me, that seems as if removing these medications is going to cause them to go downhill and eventually die. Now, this doctor gets paid per death after assessing them before the time of death, and I'm thinking that that's what's going on. I'm going to get in a lot of trouble job-wise if this is seen. I'm taking a huge risk here because I do need help. I need help for the family, and I need help bringing this doctor down. If you are a doctor, nurse, respiratory therapist, sterile processing tech, patient care tech, CNA, I don't care. Please watch this video in its entirety. Please engage with it as much as possible. Please share it. And please just help this family out by doing this, okay? There will be a Cash App link in my bio. It will be my Cash App, as I don't believe the family has one. Most of the members of the family are fairly older. There is one that is about my age. I've not talked to her specifically since that night, but she was one of the only ones who noticed what was taking place and noticed what was going to happen after those, monitoring systems were removed along with the nasal cannula. I have 3 written witness testimonies that have been sent to the state's attorney general along to IDOI, and that will be given to our attorneys as well. The Cash App, if you guys send anything, it will be given directly to the family. I will show receipts of that. I will show, if whether it's sending it to them, showing you receipts of that, or showing the receipts that it's been sent to an attorney or used for an attorney for this purpose, that will be done. Please just watch the entire video, engage with it, do whatever you got to do to help us out. This doctor is killing people, and I believe it is on purpose, 100%, with full intent, and I believe it's for financial gain. That's all I have right now. I will update you guys with more when I have it. Thank you. Part 3 on the Dr. Death series. You're going to want to hear this one.
regarding the doctor nicknamed Dr. Death 2 nights ago. I apologize, I'm losing my voice, so please listen closely. The doctor with the nickname Dr. Death 2 nights ago had a patient perfectly fine during the day. Again, sorry for my voice. This patient, blood sugar had dropped. That's all. They did get some shots of glucagon, got it up. It had gone back down, right? So there was some issues going on there as to what was happening. Now, they ended up calling the doctor. The doctor ordered morphine for this fucking patient. Why? Why morphine? Well, anyway, the doctor, goddamn voice, the doctor didn't come to assess the patient till 2 days later anyway. But the patient, which I have this on documentation, I have it filmed. I can even show screenshots as long as I can hide all HIPAA-related content. The patient's allergies are strictly morphine, oxycodone, fentanyl, that shit. Yet the doctor prescribes morphine. Fucking morphine. Now, the patient was on hospice, but the patient wasn't dying. You can be on hospice and not die, or not, be expected to die. So, what I'm saying is this patient was fucking fine. The only issue they had was a drop in blood sugar. Some slight breathing issues, nothing that couldn't be fucking fixed by, me or the other nurse. I'm also an RT. Also, do things with sleep studies, so I'm a registered polysomnography tech. I'm a nurse and sterile processing tech, and I hold my CIC in infection control and prevention. And apparently I hold a fucking inner compass to the fucking illegal bullshit all these fucking people do around me. I'm sorry for my voice. I'm super fucking pissed. And when I brought this shit up to the doctor yesterday when I went into my shift, she fucking ignored me. She didn't say shit to me. She just walked right fucking past me. Because I asked just straight up, hey, why did you give morphine to this patient when they're allergic? I said that was their one fucking allergy. That and penicillin, right? So it said penicillin, morphine, fentanyl, and oxycodone. Patient can't even take codeine, okay? That's how allergic this patient is to those substances. Yet you prescribe 1 ml of morphine. Now, I'm not going to say the concentration because that doesn't matter. It was a low concentration. But still, 1 ml of morphine every 30 fucking minutes. And it was given to this patient. The first time it was given, patient immediately had breathing issues, and I went and got atropine for this patient to stop the secretions so that they could breathe better, right? And then the order had been put in or whatever, because at this point I don't give a shit what that doctor says. I don't give a fuck, because the next time they try to do this shit, I'm gonna deck them and do what's right for the patient, because I should have done that with my patient when I realized what the fuck was happening. I should have just knocked this doctor out, took over, and apologized to the family and said, hey, this is what's going on. I apologize, but I'm saving your fucking family member. So I did what I had to do that night. I am going to get fired when they see these TikToks. They will be up for a little bit, and then I'm going to have to hide them on my page as ads, okay? That means they'll still show up on your For You page. You can still share them. You can still comment on them. I can still see everything. But if you go to my page, it will not show up, okay? I'm getting this out, and I'm going to give it an hour or two to make it out there and reach as many people. If you want a friend request me, that's fine. I appreciate it. The more people I have, the more people that can hear this and know what the fuck is going on. And yes, I'm in Indiana. Good old shitty fucking Indiana. Anyway, one day soon I'm going to say this doctor's name, because I am this fucking close to fucking bringing it all down on her. Now, the doctor's been banned from a hospital in Bloomington for having too many excessive deaths under their license. They were never investigated. They just didn't want the liability anymore, right? So you don't get the nickname Dr. Death after, 40 years of practice without a fucking cause, right? You're Dr. Death for a fucking reason, and it's because you kill people. I'm starting to believe it's with intent. Harvesting organs, I saw those comments. Yeah, possibly. That's a huge fucking issue, and that just came out on the news too, and I'm well aware of the shit that happens about that around here. Well aware. That's a whole other series that I need to get into. But right now, for the time being, you will find this. This is part 3 in the Dr. Death series. Please share this. This is the newest part, or newest thing that has happened since my last post, which I had been saving that in my drafts for over a week, since before July 4th weekend. I found out that the place I am contracted through right now, they contracted me to a facility, and that facility had been looking at my TikTok. Thank God they didn't see anything else other than the one where I'm talking about nurses not passing their meds and shit like that. It's the one that has like 68,000 views or some shit. But they were pissed off about that. So if they were mad about that, they're going to be mad about this. But yes, I have reported this doctor to the IDOI, which is the Insurance Department of, or the Indiana Department of Insurance. I've reported the doctor to the state's attorney general, and I've also hired an attorney to file a lawsuit in regards to my half of it, not on the family's, although the money will go to the family. I have talked to the family, but she denied my right to second the time of death, which we had gone back in. This was the first patient I had spoke about. That patient still had a heartbeat. When I went to turn on the nasal cannula to give that patient oxygen and to start, CPR, whatever, just whatever I needed to fucking do, right? He then lost his heartbeat. So things were done. He was a DNR, so morally I couldn't just bring him back, even though it's just a lot of shit, okay? But this is, again, part 3 of the Dr. Death series. This is the newest development, and I have all the fucking proof that she made this order to give the morphine to the patient, knowing this patient is allergic to morphine, fentanyl, codeine, oxycodone, all that shit, even hydrocodone. So if you're a nurse, a doctor, fellow RT, fellow nurse, sterile processing tech, CNA, I don't give a shit. Comment, fucking share, like it. Please, anything I make off these videos will go to the family. The wife of the patient who had passed in my first video, she needs help, and I don't know how else to help her. I've mowed her lawn. I've met up with her to eat with her a few times because of her being lonely and just needing to talk to somebody, right? Her husband died after 40 years of marriage. So I'm doing what I can, man. I got my own family, though. 4 kids. I'm stressed out to the fucking max, and I'm still having to go to work at this place, and just a lot of stuff. Please do me a favor. Even if it's not for me, do it for the family. Share the fucking piss out of this video and let TikTok do what it was meant to fucking do. And that's save lives and call it the fucking bullshit from the people who are fucking higher than us and who have control.
This is a quick update to the Dr. Death series. Now this is part 4. Again, my name is Kobe Simpson, and I have uncovered a lot of terrible things regarding a doctor that I worked under. I'm still not going to say the doctor's name right now, or the facility, or the town that it has taken place in. I was fired last night from that position because I whistleblew, right? I uncovered it and leaked the information out to the appropriate authorities, including the IDOI, the state's attorney general, and soon to be some other ones as well. And I'll be able to talk more about it here soon. But they fired me, which so first off, I've had 7 total death threats in the last 3 or 4 days. The previous one was last night on my way to work. As soon as I entered in the town where I was working, a black SUV literally came out of nowhere from so I was at a light, and to my left front, there is a car dealership, and I started hearing revving, and then I hear like what sounds like a car hitting stuff, right? This car, I look over, and again, a black SUV, a normal black SUV. It may have been a Chevy, I'm not sure. It wasn't cops or anything like that, obviously, but it was going over the curbs of the parking lot of this fucking car dealership. And it went across the oncoming traffic road and headed straight towards me. I thought the guy was drunk. I hit my gas, go through the red light, and barely miss a car that was coming from the to the right, or from the right to go straight. And I started peeling out, and I get on the phone to call 911 to alert them that there is a drunk fucking guy driving crazy as hell, right? As I'm on the phone with dispatch, I then see in my rearview mirror that this guy is actually coming towards me now, and fast too. So I just didn't know what to think. But then he tries ramming me, and my whole mentality literally shifted from this guy's drunk to this is one of the people who have been giving me death threats regarding this story. Now, I wouldn't be receiving death threats and someone physically trying to kill me and run me off the road if the doctor was innocent, right? No, not at all. And as most of you guys can tell, if you've been watching my videos, my voice has gotten a lot better, so that's good. But anyway, he literally tries to fishtail me, and I sped up and turned over more to the right, like to the side of the road, and I hit some rubble and some grass, and I actually start to spin out a little bit. Wasn't bad. I got straightened out really quick, but I'm on the phone with dispatch, and by that point I've already told them that this guy is trying to hit me and I need, help. Luckily it's a small town, and two cops were actually, like, one was in a parking lot to the left of me, and the other one was around the corner at a gas station. So they got behind us real quick, and the guy in the SUV turned to the right and went behind a store where there's like a neighborhood and stuff. And the other cop got behind me and started flashing his blinkers, not his head or his cop lights. I didn't know what, I was assuming I'm not getting pulled over, right? Because I'm on the phone with dispatch saying, yes, there's a police officer behind me. I made sure that there was a police officer, in that area with that type of cruiser. She confirmed it because whatever. I'm not going to get into that part, but anyway, I didn't know what to do. I just stuck my hand out with thumbs up. I was just, yeah, man, I'm doing good. And he blinked his blinkers again as soon as I pull into work, because he followed me to work. Thank God. I pull over, and he pulls up next to me and asks me what I do. And I told him, I said, I've received several death threats in the past few days regarding information of a doctor at this place, which I pointed to my place of employment at that time. And I said, I need to talk to somebody. I need to file a formal report. And he said, well, I wouldn't be the one, because he was fairly new, he said, but I needed to speak to a detective. So he then, dispatch was still on the phone at that time, actually. So I said I was still on the phone with them, and I said, I'm okay, everything's good, I'm on with them. And he said that he would radio in for a detective to come out and see me, and then dispatch said the same thing, that they would make sure that someone came out to see me here soon. I told them, make sure they call me when they get there so that I can come out and speak with them, because I didn't want anyone knowing I was talking to a cop. I didn't want anyone questioning why, even though, I was the victim in this, right? I didn't want them to know, because, again, it has to do with Dr. Death, which is their medical director of the facility, right? So, again, I'm not going to say what the name of the doctor is just yet. I will eventually. It's going to be all over the news, because one reporter has picked up the story, and I have two more that have actually messaged me, but I am going to go through it first with this specific reporter who reached out to me first. I am extremely grateful for her, and if you see this, thank you. I am beyond grateful for this opportunity to actually spread this message on a massive scale, because so many people have suffered from this woman's actions. And anyway, the detective that showed up did not call me. In fact, I don't even know how he got in the building. someone had to have let him in, right? And I was at the nurse's station getting a report and about to count narcs and stuff. And he walks up and he says, hey, I'm assuming you're the one I'm supposed to talk to. I'm the only male nurse there. So I said, yes. I said, can you just give me a second? Let me finish counting these. He said, yeah. So we stayed there. I counted the rest of the narcs. And then I look behind me and I see both the administrator and director of nursing staring at me like I'm doing something wrong. First off, I never let the cop in, right? I said I'd meet him outside. We go into a private room, discuss everything, and he's going to file a report. I'm pressing charges because of the death threats. The death threats is actually what he wanted me to talk about most. And he asked me to show him proof of certain things, and I did. I'm not going to mention those things because that director of nursing and that administrator and the corporate of that company, they've been watching my TikToks. So just in case they're watching this, you guys fucked up. I was a good nurse for you guys. I cared about the patients. I bought one of your patients a fucking iPad because he fucking deserved it. And everyone treated him like shit and let shit get stolen from him daily. Every fucking time. I treated him fucking amazingly. Every patient loved me. Every patient. Even one that I got into a fight with one time, we ended up coming, back to being friends. And it wasn't even my fault why we got into an argument. But anyway, 4 hours into my shift, the administrator walks up and says, hey, I need to talk to you. Can you grab your stuff? And I was like, yeah. And he said, oh, those are your glasses? I was like, yeah. And he said, can you grab those? I was like, yeah. Do I need to grab anything else? I already had a feeling, right? And I said, do I need to grab anything else? He said, yeah, anything you brought. Okay. So I grab all my shit, my bag of grapes, which I just started opening, which one day I'll tell you guys stories about grapes and me. Anyway, I grab my lunchbox, my backpack, all my equipment that I bring with me, like my otoscope, everything, blood pressure, I bring it all. And I immediately turn around and say, you're walking me out of here, aren't you? He said, yes, I am. I said, is it because of what happened earlier? He said, yes, it is. You called the cops and had them come into the building. I said, no, I didn't. I said, I called the cops because I had a death threat on the way here regarding the stuff I found out about the doctor, right? And he said, you called the cops and let them in the building. I said, no, I called the cops. Someone let them in because I was at the nurse's station, right? He was acting as if like, oh, it was a HIPAA violation that a cop was walked in and saw these people, right? Bullshit, man. And if you got a problem with that, find out who let them the fuck in. But anyway, he already knew about the stuff that I leaked, the information about that doctor. He fired me, which I have on recording from another coworker, by the way, that is the real reason they fired me, was because I talked to the cops about this doctor and that I had released information to social media and to the state's attorney general, the IDOI, all this stuff. They don't want me slandering that doctor is the words they used. So I now no longer have a job. My livelihood is gone. So now I have nothing but time to invest into this story, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. Please pray for me, guys. Last night was the closest it's come to me actually getting killed, but I'm still here. So again, please pray for me. Please spread this message, and when I get more updates, I'll share them with you guys. Thank you all for the support you've given me so far. I truly appreciate it.
All right, big update on the Dr. Death series. Since my first story came out, hundreds of families have reached out to me on Facebook, TikTok, sharing their heartbreak that this doctor has caused. I'm talking husbands, wives, sons, and daughters, all saying the same thing. The doctor has caused their loved one's premature death and failed to do what was needed in order to save them. And here's the twist. This isn't just any doctor. At one point, she was a local preacher in this town, spreading God's word while taking off life-supporting oxygen from patients without assessing them, denying transfers to hospitals that would have saved their lives, and letting people die in nursing homes she oversaw. She's also been the county's health officer at one point. That position alone has kept many people in this town too scared to speak up until now. The families of the very patients I first spoke about in the media and on TikTok have personally reached out to me. They told me that they have my back as I keep going forward with this, and they will help me in any way that they can. They're the ones who have given me the strength to pull myself out of the depression that I was in, that this has caused. and they're the reason I'm still fighting. I promise you, I will push until this doctor has her license stripped from her for good. And tomorrow I go on television on a talk show that is aired nationally to tell this story and to spread it all over the country. It's gotten a lot bigger than me now. It's about every patient who was promised care and got neglect instead. To the families who've reached out to me on Facebook and TikTok, your stories matter, justice matters, and to this doctor, I'm not going away. You fucked up.
All right, guys, I've got updates on Dr. Death. So the more I dig, the uglier this gets. I basically need like an investigation team, because the amount of messages I'm getting from current employees, past employees, current patients, past patients, current and past patients' family members. I mean, it's fucking insane. What am I gonna say? Just everybody's coming forward. Let me just tell you this, you're gonna wanna hear this shit. Someone at the coroner's office within that county, by the way, has reached out, has actually stated that they were sent bodies with head trauma. Now let me look at this, because I don't want to say the exact quote of what they said, just because I don't want them being figured out. I don't know who they are, but they had several deaths that were sent to them, right? They got these bodies and they had to send them straight to the funeral home to hide head trauma. And they also said that they had to serve papers and contact the Attorney General's office here in Indiana because of these bodies with head trauma. These patients were from this doctor, Dr. Death, aka Angel of Death, whatever you want to call this doctor. Now I got this message from a family member just last night. They've been waiting 25 fucking years for this to come to light. Their grandmother was misdiagnosed with asthma when she actually had congestive heart failure. What the fuck? She died at 70 years old, at home, no autopsy, just gone. The family was told the family told me that she robbed them of many more years this family member could have had, obviously, you know. Another former employee told me morphine was the answer for everything. One time they even had to interrupt the doctor's church service, because again, this doctor was a preacher, right, spreading God's word, and at the same time doing this shit, right. They had to interrupt the doctor's church service, and because the patient that she had was dying, and she acted like it was nothing, that she didn't do anything. She just acted like it was fuck whatever, you know. The occupational therapist messaged me, or a occupational therapist messaged me, first job out of grad school, right? Worked at Owen Valley and McCormick's Creek. Yep, those are the names of the facilities. She witnessed 3 wrongful deaths in just 2 months. 2 of them 100% staff's fault. She reported it and was fired immediately. How ironic. The same fucking thing happened to me, except I filed to be protected as a whistleblower with the IDOL and had reported to the state's attorney general before I told you guys. I'm talking to the facility because I know they're watching this shit. So again, I knew I'd get fired. Now I brought it up once and no one did anything about it. So I took matters into my own hands and let it out everywhere. Media, Attorney General's office, Department of Health, Indiana Department of Labor, because that was after they fired me, but because they did retaliation on a whistleblower. So they didn't make it a safe place for workers in their facility to come forward about negligence and malpractice. What the fuck is that about? Y'all need to get some shit figured out, because you're making it a fucking dangerous place for any family or any patient you have right now to ever fucking want to come back. Get your fucking shit straight, dude. Anyway, this occupational therapist, she reported it, right, to the doctor, and the doctor, she called the doctor an ignorant, condescending, egotistical monster who needs to retire. 100% agree on that, considering now, you know, I know that coroner's office is also hiding bodies with head trauma from this doctor, which is funny. It's being hid and not investigated. And I wonder why that is. It's probably because of the doctor's standing within the community, which has also made a lot of fucking people nervous to come out. Because again, the doctor, either she still is, she may be still, but I know she was the county's health officer during COVID and a little bit after that. So, yeah, people are scared because also this doctor / medical director / health officer for the county and / local preacher who's been doing this for 40 years knows some people in a place where you, I don't know how to say it because I don't want them coming after me. Well, I think that just answered it, right? He's friends with the tip-top guy there. So, yeah, that's why I've not received a call back on certain things. But, yeah, I'll be figuring that out eventually. Anyway, to the families of the patients that I've already talked to about, or have already talked about publicly, they've been reaching out, telling me they're with me 100% and taking this further. Again, you guys pulled me out of the depression and you've given me the strength to keep going until this doctor is stripped of her license. This isn't over, obviously. I keep finding out more stuff. It's not over, not by a long shot. And tomorrow I'm heading to a studio to go on national television here in Chicago. Actually, that's where I'm at, is in Chicago. I got a nice little room, nice little room. I can't see out there now, but yeah, that's Chicago, baby. So it's gonna be everywhere now. And if any of you guys know an attorney, I'd appreciate it. I'm having trouble locking one down for some reason. Again, someone commented on my stuff and said, oh, if you're not doing this for money, then why a lawsuit? Well, because I can't file a malpractice lawsuit because I'm not a patient and I'm not a patient's family member. So I have to do a different route. And I was retaliated against as a whistleblower, which is against federal and state law. So that's going to be part of it. And then also the damages that the doctor caused me psychologically, I'm suing for. So if they even just take her license away, fire her, take her license away, that's fine with me. Absolutely fine. And if I get money, yeah, I'm going to help my family because I was fired from a job that paid a lot of money, which helped with everything, right? But anyway, to the families, just know justice is coming one way or another. This doctor and these facilities that are owned by this one company, they're going to suffer for what they have done by ignoring what the doctor's been doing, by ignoring countless patients and family members bringing up issues, whether it was from staff members. But again, this doctor is the main issue here. It's been the fucking issue the whole time, apparently, for the last 30, 40 years. So I didn't want to do this type of shit. I honestly didn't want to, but I've got too many people waiting and that have been waiting for something to be done. And since I'm literally now at the fucking front of this, it's gonna be me. And I can't stop doing it until it's fucking done. So, wish me luck.
Hey, so Dr. Death update. I got word that their PR department in New Jersey is coming up with a press release statement, whatever you want to call it, statement for the press, to try to discredit everything I've said and have found out since I first initially reported this doctor to the state's attorney general here in Indiana. I filed with all the appropriate overseeing governmental agencies for healthcare facilities and physicians Even contacted the board of nursing on my behalf to let them know what was going on, to be fully transparent, so that in case they tried to retaliate on me and my license, that they would see through the bullshit, right? And anyway, this person told me that this letter is going to all the patients' family members and the patients, along with like the community and stuff. Like, it's going to go out to where they're basically trying to clean up this mess, right? So, but not once have I been reached out to by this company, which is fine. I'd assume they probably wouldn't, because, you know, they probably want to have their attorneys handle it, but no one's reached out to me on their behalf to even find out what's going on. You would think they would want to know, like, hey, is this actually true? Which it is, because again, I have proof, man. I have recorded conversations. I mean, I have just everything. So, and before any of you come out here and say, oh, you broke HIPAA, blah, 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 what's your proof? Well, I can't tell you what my proof is. And no, I haven't broken any HIPAA violations. And there's also a whistleblower exception for HIPAA. So, but even that, I haven't even used that full exception to the full state that I can. So I've been very careful about what I say. But this letter is basically calling me like a crazy disgruntled employee, right? Well, the thing is, I filed this stuff before they fired me. So, and brought this stuff to light before they fired me. So I wasn't disgruntled. I still had my job, and everything was fine up until then with me in the facility. It was just the doctor and I, right? So, whatever. But I will be sent a copy of that from this person. So when I get it, I will read it to you guys. Yeah. Before I say anything else about Dr. Death, I want to make it clear, transparency is my priority. I've been told that the facility I worked at, the same one where the doctor still practices, has had their PR department draft a statement about this situation. I've also been warned that this statement may attempt to discredit me and make me look like I've had bad intentions when I have not. So let me be very clear right now. Everything I've spoken about regarding this doctor and the facility now are based on my direct experiences as a nurse, my eyewitness account of what happened to my patients, and specifically my patient on June 30th, and the dozens of messages I've received from other healthcare workers, former patient families, current patients' families, and patients, and the community members, many of whom have shared same deeply painful stories that line up with what I have said and what you guys have heard. I never wanted to make this public. I only wanted advice at first. But I went through the proper channels first, reporting it to my supervisor and trusting leadership to handle it. When that didn't happen, I took it to the state's attorney general's office because I felt I had no other choice. Since then, I have faced death threats, intimidation, one physical attempt on my life, and harassment. But I've also received overwhelming support from people in the community who've been waiting years for someone to speak up. If their statement says I'm lying, know this: I have documentation, I have proof, I have witnesses and eyewitness testimonies. I have nothing to gain by putting myself in this position except to protect the patients and to make sure the families get answers. If it says I was fired, yeah, I was fired after reporting the incident, filing it with the state's attorney general's office, and telling the director of nursing, which then told the administrator, and they fired me for that specific reason. But it doesn't make anything an eyewitness less true. If it tries to paint this doctor as a saint, I'm not here to debate her entire career, only to speak about what I've seen firsthand and what others have bravely come forward to share. Whatever they put out, I'm asking you to remember, organizations protect themselves, not the truth. I have no PR department. I only have the facts, my integrity, and the people who know what really happens behind those closed doors. So again, just remember, everything I've told you, I have followed up with to make sure before I've given that knowledge out. So I'm not just blindly throwing things out there. I make sure that there is no other option or no other reason for these actions before I state them in part of my story. So I've been waiting for someone to message me and to talk to me about this doctor to see if the doctor just doesn't know what's going on, or they don't understand what they're doing, or they legitimately think they're doing good, or whatever the case may be. Or maybe it's all coincidence. To me, that's too many coincidences for it to be coincidence. But I don't want this for them at all. I don't. And I really hope that there is an answer for this, because I don't want it to just be an intentional act on their behalf. So I've prayed for this person, and I know some people will get on here and say, oh, get off your high horse, blah, 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 and all this stuff, which I've seen those messages about this doctor and them standing up for this doctor. I get that. There's going to be some people who are going to be like that for sure. But I've only received 3 messages like that. So out of thousands at this point from people within that community, patient or past patients and family members of past patients who have now passed, I'm getting messages every day. So where are the good ones? I want to see the good ones. Anyway, I'll keep you guys updated when I find out more about the press release, I guess. So before I say anything else about Dr. Death, I want to make it clear, transparency is my priority.